my channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment.
Hello guys, welcome once again to another day to talk about Keke Wyatt'S. And today we're going to be talking about season 1, episode 3. But before we go ahead, if it is your first time for joining our channel, thank you very much for joining our channel. Don't forget to like and comment your thoughts and your opinion on the comment section. Don't also forget to click on the subscription button down below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and just dive into today's episode or last night's episode of Kiki White's Word. We started the episode with Kiki meeting up with her family for a family meeting where she put everybody aside. And there was something that the children did say in this episode that kind of, I don't know how it came off to me. Like, she doesn't always like to accept help. She always likes to do everything on her own. Considering the fact that it can be overwhelming. Considering the fact that it can be overwhelming, she still decides to take on the responsibility by herself without asking for help. How did you feel about that when she had this meeting with her children?
Well, I think family meetings are always good, especially if you need to update or clear the air on certain situations. It was sad, because she had to tell the kids the new condition and the new diagnosis that their younger sibling had. And it was just really sad to see how the older ones, because they're the ones who basically are understanding what she's saying, so it was hard to see how they kind of dealt with it. It looked like a few of them kind of got teary eyed and kind of was wiping tears from their eyes and stuff. It was sad, but it was probably much needed.
Yeah. And I hope, and I do hope, like they say, would you accept our help? I do hope, because it's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, yes, most
You
definitely.
you already have like 10 children that are not, it's not like any of them is like that grown that you say, okay, fine, this one is off my shoulders, right? You
Right.
have children that you still need to literally take care of. Then you have one that's special needs that you have to be there every day, every time, and you still decide that it could be depressing, like it's exhausting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's exhausting. I mean, I had a child who was pretty sick growing up, and it was very exhausting, in between going to a children's hospital in UCLA and, and medications and it's a lot. It takes a strong woman to go through raising a sick kid. You know what I'm saying? It takes patience. It takes prayers. Oh my God. You know, it takes a lot of knowledge of, if you don't know, then knowledge yourself on medications and procedures and what's going on. You got to almost become a doctor, you know.
And
And
this the fact that this
it's a
is her
lot to
second
carry.
time.
Yeah, it's a lot to carry, you know, especially if you're doing it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody, even though you have a mate, your mate may not have the know-how like a mom would. I mean, because it's our babies, and you're talking about injecting
Mm-hmm.
stuff and taking pills. And, you want to know what the side effects for everything is so you can weigh the pros and cons. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
I do feel
Definitely a
bad for
lot.
her that she had gone through the same thing the first time with her other son that had cancer, and now, no, she's going through the same thing for this one. The cancer on, there was hope that there'll be a turnaround. This one, it's like it's kind of going to be a continuous process.
Yeah, I mean, with
And
cancer, yeah, with cancer, the only thing cancer can do is go into remission. It's not cancer don't go away; it goes into remission.
yeah,
You
it goes
know,
into remission. Yes, 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 yeah.
right? Hmm. So I mean, she still has that kid who is sick, but right now he's in remission. So that's a lot to deal with. And now another child, that's going through basically the same thing. That's heartbreaking, for any mom.
Mhm. I
You
feel
know.
like I don't like the fact that she's trying to do everything on her own, because I believe that, see, we are human beings. As much as we have blood flowing in our veins, as
Right.
much as she's doing superwoman, superwoman, one day superwoman too will break down.
Right. I mean,
And when you
especially if she's not giving herself a chance to comprehend, or, she's running from the hospital to the house to deal with the kids, back to the hospital to see how the baby's doing, trying to have a career, that's exhausting. Plus, she's
exactly,
not even taking care of
yeah.
yeah, she's not even taking care of her mental health. So sooner or
Mm-hmm.
later, something's gonna have to give.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You know, when you don't take care, there's something I've just realized that when you don't take, because as much as, right, she
Mm-hmm.
is there for her kid, you know,
Yes.
she loves her kids and everything. There's still something called pain, because nobody is happy seeing somebody you love, somebody you care for going through pain, and you don't work out that pain. You don't work
Mm-hmm.
out that disappointment you feel. You don't work out that sadness you feel. You will just realize that that pain and everything has to be poured somewhere else. And sometimes it become misplaced. The places you
Right.
start pouring those things,
Right.
it becomes so misplaced. I feel like she needs to tell herself, yeah, I need a breather. She has a husband. She has 10 other kids that wants to be there for her to help her, but she
Right.
still has this mentality, if I'm not the one with the baby, if I'm not the one holding the baby, every other person wouldn't hold the baby perfectly, take care of the baby perfectly. I know you want to feel that,
Right.
but at the end of the day, I say something. If you think you're very, 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 very important in life, one day if something happens to you when you leave this earth,
Mm-hmm.
one thing you're gonna realize first thing is that you're surprised to find out that you were replaceable at the end of the day.
Right.
No matter how much you told yourself, I'm irreplaceable, you would later find out that you are so replaceable.
Well, yeah, I mean, life moves on. People learn how to adjust with less. When you're faced with that situation, what do you do?
Mhm. And the fact that I do know that they love their child, like when they were here, how they were, I know the love is there, even from the husband. The
Oh,
love
yeah.
is there. If you give this husband at least a day to take care of this child, for her to say, what, let me decompress.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take this full day to decompress,
Right.
desensitize, like everything. I'm pretty sure this man here will be able to take up the challenge for that day.
Oh, of
But
course.
will she be able to, like, say, okay, fine, I want to remove myself from the situation?
Yeah, I think that she is so involved to the point to where if anything goes wrong, she wants to be able to blame herself and not blame somebody else. if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah. In certain ways, I see that. In certain ways, I see that. Um. Oh, I just one thing I'm gonna say is that her life is a mess, and I still don't think she has her life put together. I don't think she knows what she's doing, and she knows what she. I don't know how to put it. She knows what she's doing, but looking for the language, she hasn't just organized it properly.
Well, to me, she's lighting the candle at both ends.
Mm,
Sooner or later, the candle
mm,
is going to burn at both ends, and
yes,
then you're just burnt
yes.
out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
and you have to have something in your life that kind of rejuvenates you, at least every now and
Mm-hmm.
then. Once a month,
Mm,
every 2 months, something that you look forward to, you know? I mean, because
mm,
if you're steadily living your life for others, and it's good to live your life for your kids. I do it, you know, but I have to have my special little something where when I need
mm,
to decompress,
mm-hmm.
you know,
Exactly.
because if
Exactly.
not, then like I said, you're going to burn yourself out. And then what good are you going to be not only not to your kids, to your spouse,
To
and now to
yourself.
yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
I
I
hope she gets the help that she needs. I pray that she does.
that's what I'm actually praying that
Yeah,
she
because her
gets
mom
help that
even said,
because everybody knows about it. Imagine her mom meeting. I'm like the thing is now this is what I want to talk about. We saw her mom
mhm,
here coming to meet her manager Andre
right,
to talk about
hmm,
how they're gonna do things. And I'm like, okay,
right,
fine. She is causing issues for other people because other people are now trying to be responsible for her to be calm. And that's putting stress on them.
right,
They are there trying to okay, let's look for a way for her not to break down. Let's try to, do things for her not to get to the part where she's burnt out. That is it. You're not putting so much heavy responsibility on the people you claim you love, the loved ones you claim you're protecting. Now you're putting stress on them, and they are trying to like make things work out for you. It doesn't end well because so many people, so many people don't like being responsible for someone. You
right.
know, being like, okay, why should I be the one have to be responsible for how the person smiles, whether the person gets
Yeah.
burnt out.
Hmm.
Why should I be responsible for that? And this is the this is the thing you get from you trying to say that you can handle everything. Every other person knows that you can't. So now they
Right.
have to adjust themselves around you so as to get to a point where you don't get to the stage of total tiredness, burnt out, depressed, and so whatnot.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a hard responsibility to put on somebody else's, as far as somebody else's mental health, where you kind of gotta
Mhm.
tiptoe around that person. That's hard. I've been around people who were at their breaking point of their mental health, and sometimes even when you don't say nothing, they're irritated. you know, it's
Mhm.
because hey, sometimes the mind needs that rest and it doesn't get it because you're always thinking, you know. And
Mm.
like I said, with a sick baby, I know I was up all times of the night researching, reading, uh, trying to figure out what is this disease, how did it get my baby? Where did it come from? You know,
Mhm.
was it me? Was it in the genes? You know what I'm saying? It,
I
it
understand.
whew, I'm telling you, it can drive the average woman crazy. especially when you're talking about your baby, you know. So I feel for her, and I know what she's going through, but at the same time, you have to find time for yourself. You have to.
Mm, exactly. You have to find time for yourself. Now, let's talk about, she invited them to her music video. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like the way Kiki behaved during the shoot. I know, yes, I understand where she's coming from. This she shouldn't. She's your friend, and she shouldn't be with somebody where she has to be looking over her shoulders, trying to be extra cautious, so that the person wouldn't steal your money. I do understand where she's coming from, but I still understand there's something called respect,
Mhm.
right? There's something called respect. At that moment, you were in a video shoot of hers. And I believe that she should have respected the fact that she came as a guest to her video shoot and respect herself and not act out and being like, oh, he's trying to get, concerning the guy that she doesn't like, her friend's manager, like he's trying to get my attention. I felt like she was making some snacky comments. I feel like she doesn't just know when to just, what, I'm just gonna keep quiet and watch how it plays out. Andre was like, I'm not a huge fan of this guy. I still have my third eye on him, but doesn't mean that I don't respect the person.
Right. Okay. See, now I kind of felt a whole different way on that, simply
Really?
because,
Okay. I want to hear that.
yeah, simply because, look, I understand where Kiki said, "Hey, this is my show." I'm not trying to give this guy no publicity or any business because his name is being
I
mentioned
wasn't even
on
talking
my
about, no,
show.
the thing is that we're gonna talk about that. I'm talking about when she was in the studio, like when they were shooting the video. We're gonna talk about what happened outside. I'm talking about inside the studio, the way she was like, doing her facial expression, talking, like gossiping a little bit with Andre, trying to be like, oh, this guy is trying to get my attention so hard. Those kind of things. I felt like she should have kept it out, not when her friend was in the music video shoot.
Yeah, I mean, that part she could have definitely stalled on. You know what I'm saying? If you have any grievances, not in the middle of the shoot, but Kiki likes making faces. I don't know if you noticed. She likes using her face for her expressions. She has a very expressive face. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said,
Yeah.
sometimes when people are upset or afraid, they use comedy to kind of put them at ease. You know what I'm saying? Or to keep
Mm.
from crying. But I'm not saying if that was one of those situations, but I'm just saying, yeah, she should have stalled out on that, and just let her go on and tape her little
Mm-hmm.
video, regardless to who was there,
Who
who
was
was
there?
producing, who
Yeah.
was starring with her. That's her.
Because
That's her video. She paid for that.
mm-hmm.
You know, and you knew
That's my thing because
beforehand. Yeah, you knew
because
beforehand when you were coming that you were coming with the notion that
yeah,
you were
you
going to
were
run into
going
this guy that you don't care for.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't.
It would have been a different scenario if you didn't or you were not expecting him to be there. Then you got there, then you saw him. I would have understood that. This
Right,
is the shock, effect. This is a wow factor that happened to you right there. You were not expecting this guy. But you knew from the
right,
day one, from the get-go, she let you know that if you come to this place, this guy was gonna be here. And that's why I
right,
feel like she doesn't just know when to just say, okay, I'm done. I hang my boots. Let it be
right,
over it.
right. And if she didn't appreciate it, then hey, you came, you seen, you conquered, leave. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, a little support is better than no support.
Mhm. And now we're outside here. The main thing. She says, "Oh, I met up with somebody, some a big exec was is trying to get to put me through my music." Yes, Kiki doesn't like this person because, according to her, this person said some things to her when she was younger, did some things to her when she was younger.
Right.
I want to ask this question, and this was the same question she did ask her friend.
Was I on 100 or was he on 100?
I wish Dre would have stopped.
Who was on 100 in this situation?
I believe in that situation. I mean, like I said, I understand where Kiki was coming from, you know, but I don't know, this is kind of hard. I understand where she's coming from. I mean, if I don't like you, you know, I'm not going to come around you first off, and if we happen to be someplace that we are together, if it's anything that I'm doing, I don't feel like it's my responsibility to let you benefit off me. Create your own opportunities, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But then, I'm looking at it another way. Hey, I got a name for myself. Basically, I've made it. Where are you? Trying to eat off my table. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if she handled it the mature way. I think she handled it the emotional way. It wasn't too mature, but it was the emotional way.
Yeah, I did think, in my opinion,
Hmm.
I did think that she handled it in my opinion, just my opinion. I don't think she handled it in the best way because she said you don't like this guy. I don't. From that part, I understand. I don't like
Hmm.
this guy because I went through some traumatic experience with him. Yeah,
Right.
I do understand that side. Then you tell you're like, oh, your friend shouldn't, trying to convince your friend. Then Andre is like, why don't you look at it this way? He was trying to see reasoning with her. Like,
Hmm.
why don't you look at it this way? Your friend got a blessing. At least your friend already knows what you went through with him. Then she already knows the kind of things to look out for when she's with this person to avoid the same thing happening to her. Let's just celebrate the blessing she has for now. Let's
Right.
not start talking about the disadvantages. That was what Andrew was trying to do. And I think Andrew was trying to be a good friend to her, to this young lady here. I don't want to discourage, like, I don't want to discourage you because of my experience, because everybody experiences things differently.
Right.
Your experience, it will be definitely different from my experience. Sometimes we go through the same places, the same people, we meet the same people, and we experience them in different ways. That's how sometimes girls like us will say, oh, I dated this guy, but the way he was with me is different from the way he was with you. Because
Right.
your experience is different from my experience with this particular person. So I think Andrew was trying to tell her that I know your experience with this guy, Kiki, was bad, but allow your friend. She knows what it's all about. She knew what happened. She knew how we went. You know how you went through that trauma with this guy. Then she knows what she's getting into. Before she took the decision, she already knew. So she was like, try. He was like, try to celebrate, because I feel that she was trying to tell them for them to help her or follow her celebrate her milestone in her music career. But Kiki Wyatt had to come like try to make it about herself.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't about her. I mean, she told her friend how this guy was. At that point, once you tell a person that you got to let it go and let them experience this person for themselves, you know,
Thank you.
um, and hey, look, when we're talking about my dollars, if my dollars ain't adding up, somebody got to go. you know, there's no second chances. It is what it is. you know, but her friend has to learn on her own. She learned the first time, but she's willing to give him another chance. I would let her do her, and just be a listening ear if there's ever a
Mm-hmm.
problem that arises. Just be a listening ear.
Exactly.
Don't say, well, I told you so. And, just be
You
a
know,
listening ear.
exactly. Situations like that happens. I think I had a friend like that where I she, she has had this experience before and it didn't turn out well, and I was like, okay, stop this, stop it. But I realized that the more I said say, the more I was like telling her stop it, stop it. It looked as if I wasn't happy. It looked as if I wasn't happy that she was improving in life or she was making progress in life, and that kind of thing can mess up friendships.
Yeah, I
And the
agree.
way, okay, and let's be truthful. How many times did Andre mention this person's name? I think it was only once. Then when she said don't mention it, he never did again. He was just referring to the person but never mentioned the name. I don't know whether I was hearing things, but that was how I felt.
Yeah, I didn't really hear him mention it a whole lot. And once she said stop, I didn't hear him do it again.
And I knew he stopped. He was just referring to the person, not by name, because I still don't even know the name of this person they are talking about. And she kept on hinting, don't call his name. I was like, he's not even calling his name. She always likes to take things from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of that being wound up too tight, you know. She's wound
And
up
that
too
is,
tight. She
uh-huh.
she, she needs a break, you know. She needs
See,
some
and
type of
that,
intervention. She needs an intervention.
I'm telling you. And I feel like all these things are stemming from the fact that she has so many emotions from all the things she's going through and doesn't have where to pour it.
Right, right. She needs some type of support group, maybe even outside of the family.
Outside, not in the family, outside of the
Yeah,
family, outside of her normal friends.
right. Because they don't possibly know what she's going through. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how many of her friends have sick kids?
Mm.
You know, so yeah, if she looked into maybe a support system, maybe with other mothers that have uh, some of the diseases that
That
her son
situation,
has,
yeah.
maybe she'll be able to more relate. You
Maybe
know,
she'll be able to cope more,
yeah,
because she has high emotions are high, then she
oh
goes hyper,
oh
you
yeah,
know. And I also feel like this her lady friend was not being a good friend because what is it that you cannot tell your friend the truth and you're like trying to make her feel better and be like, oh, I wish Andrea would have kept quiet. Why is it that you expect the other person to be the matured one, to be the reasonable one?
well, I mean, everybody ain't gonna be what you want them to be. Everybody is they're gonna act accordingly how they want to act. You can't control a person's actions. you know. So that's what
Mm.
Andre felt. Andre was gonna say what he felt. You can't shut him up. He's a man. you know. He's going to say what he felt, especially if he feels like she's disrespecting him or she's making little of a title that she gave him.
Yeah. And the one thing I'm gonna say is that I was proud that she came to this meeting professional, because one thing I was scared was like Kiki was gonna take it hyper and she was gonna lose out on this meeting. So I was happy that she came into this meeting with so much professionalism. I was shocked. But my question is, why would she, what was her husband doing here? What was the aim of her husband being here?
I don't know. I think that's like her. That's her better side. That's her the side that thinks logically before acting. That's uh her rock. And she probably needs him like every moment of the day. That's her support. That's her emotional
Mm-hmm.
support. It's almost like a security blanket. Everything's going to be all right. And if it doesn't, I can turn to him and say, did you hear this? Did you see this? Let's go.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes I think it's good he's there because he's the voice of reason for her. No, he's the one who can back her up off the walls.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I didn't like was when she was like, "Oh, it's my show. Without my show, without me, you are nothing." I'm like, that was coming off as pride.
Yeah,
Nobody is a one man nation.
yeah. I mean, even if it was true, that's not nice. You know that's not nice. You know, yeah. Of course, she's the star. But a star takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
Every star got to have a
Mm-hmm.
team.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get out there and do the lighting and the sound check and mic check.
Exactly.
And play in the band and play every instrument and sing and then do the dances and you can't do all of that by yourself. You need a team. So if that's part of your team, then a lot of things need to be changed. Like speaking to each other respectfully. Because look, I'm not gonna just pop off, and you sure ain't gonna just pop off. You know.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if we have some disagreements, like she does with her kids, she holds a meeting, a family meeting with her kids. Now when it comes to her career, she should be doing the same thing.
And
Let's
that
hold this meeting. Let's not pop
the,
off. Let's
this
hold a
this
meeting.
meeting came with so much pride. She was like, "I think I need something else from I deserve something else from you, an apology." And when he was like, "For what?" And she was like, that's the thing that was pissing me off. The reason why I felt like for her flaring up, for her, walking out of this meeting, that childishness, because I didn't understand why she stood up and walked out. They were having a conversation. He was trying to tell her how his own point of view. And because of he said something and you felt some way, he wasn't even shouting. It should
Yeah,
have
she
been a
wasn't
different
really.
thing. What you said?
No, go ahead.
He wasn't even shouting. He was trying to just have a conversation with you. And you took it from 0 to 100. Like, I don't do that. Just okay, because he told you you want to control things. And which is true. If you check everything around her, she always likes to control the environment. She always likes to control things around her. You get. And he was trying because he's a good friend. Not every friend will tell you to your face what you're doing wrong.
Right.
He's trying to tell her you always like to control things, which is even showed when he was like, what statement did he say? Was it firstly? And she was like, don't say firstly to me. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what should he say to you yet? So it's already just that stuff that she and he now told you you're controlling and you got pissed off. I feel like probably she got pissed off because she knows she's really is controlling.
Right. I mean, I do understand she is a tad bit controlling, but I think she's like that because in the past maybe she let other people control her career, her thoughts, and maybe she felt like, and I'm just speculating, maybe she felt like,
Mm-hmm.
from now on I'm gonna take control because can't nobody else be the narrative of my story but me. I'm the author, the writer, and the narrative. you know? So
Mm-hmm.
that's just my speculation on it. That so many things are out of her control, especially now. I mean, how many things can she actually control? Or at least try
That's
to?
still that still boils down to what we started with from the beginning of this review, that she needs help. She needs therapy.
Yes, I
A
agree.
very good therapist to come sit down with her, have a discussion with her. Because, like I said earlier on when I started this review, I said once you don't dispose of the pain, the hurt, the anger you feel properly, it starts showing in places that those people might not even deserve it. You flare up for the simplest of things, like here.
Yeah, therapy isn't a bad thing. Therapy doesn't always mean psych medications. Therapy sometimes means, hey, I got a lot of things in my head, and I'm just trying to get them sorted out. You know,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it doesn't mean that you're
Um,
impossible, or you're crazy, or you got issues. Sometimes it's just a person that you can talk to that doesn't talk back.
hmm.
I mean, think about all the people that you see walking around and they're talking to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And some
Like,
people look at them and they go, wow, that person's crazy. Well, it kind of makes you think, are they the same ones and we're the crazy ones? You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Because they talk to themselves because, hey, they need an answer. They have nobody else
Mm-hmm.
to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think she would benefit. In my opinion, she would benefit from talking to somebody.
But do you think that they would bounce back from this, her and her manager, because she said some kind of things to him? And do you think there will be a bounce back for them?
Definitely yes. And the reason why I say that is because Andre know where his bread and butter is coming from right now, which is Kiki. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Okay. But there's so much someone can handle. You know that.
Oh yeah, I understand, but he's been around her for years. When he started as her chef, ended up as a manager,
Mm-hmm.
without ever managing anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's because she felt comfortable with him, where she felt like she could trust him and give him more responsibilities where somebody else was lacking at. They're friends. Sometimes friends get on each other's nerves. Sometimes friends don't like hearing the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I feel about Kiki. She doesn't like hearing the truth. And I think Andre is that kind of person that will tell it to you straight, like, you know what, this is how it is, this is how I feel of your actions, what you did, what you said. And I think that's the biggest problem because Andre always calls her out on the bullshit she tries to play.
Right. Right now she's not in the place where she can accept it or hear that.
I do hope that they bounce back from their friendship, their managership, any ship they are in right now. I do hope they bounce back because, like I say, words can be hurtful. And they did throw words at each other that it could take a lot of time for them to forget about those words
Mm-hmm.
that was said about themselves. That's just it. That's just it. So I really do hope. But what in general, what do you think about Kiki? Because I feel like she's taking too much responsibility um than she can.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear your voice is going in and out. What did I feel about what?
Okay, what do you feel about, because we've kind of covered up all the episode, everything in the episode. I was like, what do you feel about Kiki's life in general? Because for me, I feel like it's chaotic. She doesn't like stopping the chaos. Is she's putting too much stress, too much on her plate, trying for this, trying for that, and still having so much more on her plate, still adding more. That's how I feel about Kiki's life, and it's sad.
Uh, well, I mean, from the things that I've known, because I followed her career like
Yeah.
20 years ago. Um, from what I know, that she's always had a busy, complicated uh, life. She's always been basically uh, the way she is. Her demeanor, her approach on things. Um, she her life is complicated. I think she's wearing a lot of hats right now.
Mm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
and she's juggling a lot of situations. But like I said, something's gonna have to give.
Mm,
Because right now it just seems like I don't want to see her spin out of control. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I also feel the same way. I don't want her to spin out of control. I do like her. I love the way she does her facial expressions, all those stuff. But I think she should just try to reduce some things from her plate.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh, I guess we've kind of covered everything in the episode. I love Kiki's life, and I literally am enjoying watching the episode. I am enjoying watching the episode. Well, we just have to wait till next week to see how this fight turned about, whether there's a reconciliation or whether they will continue with this beef they have with their self. But thank you guys for joining us to, hanging out around with us to talk about Kiki's Wyatt's Ward season 1, episode 3. But before we go, don't forget to click on the likes, to like this video. The more you like, and also click on the subscription button down below to subscribe to this humble YouTube channel. You can also turn off the post notification to get notified so that when we upload the video, you would be the first person to hear about it. But thank you guys once again for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys another time. Bye.
Bye.